Hey, what's up friends? Welcome. My name is Flo. If you are new here, welcome. Today I want to share with you 6 primal movements that you must know and hopefully do on a regular basis, otherwise all this knowledge will be useless to you. And in the end of the video I will share 2 more bonus tips in terms of 2 more primal movements that I think are really important for you as a human to move in a more natural way. This is more of a tutorial style, so I will explain and break down all the movements for you, at least the first 6, and you can follow along, but it's not like a full practice, so it's more sharing it, breaking it down. You can try it out and then you can do more repetitions, more rounds in your own time if you want to. The goal is to give you a lot of useful information in a short amount of time that you can then integrate and play around with in your own routine and in your own practice. Although I didn't plan to integrate this one, but I think number 0, if you will, and that's not part of the 6, is sitting on the heels. Sitting on the floor is a very normal, natural, primal way of not necessarily movement, but a position that's natural for you to be in. So if you can sit on the floor, cross-legged, or sitting on the heels like I do right now in the seiza position, as they call it in martial arts, great. So let's start here from this seat. Try to do that more in your day, and we from there come up to a standing position. For the first movement, I will use those blocks here. You don't need anything, but it might help a little bit to make it more clear what we're doing. So we're coming into a forward fold, and imagine you are working in this forward bend position, which is actually very natural and very good for you to lengthen the whole back line with the legs not fully straight but slightly bent. But oftentimes today we hear this is bad for your back, this is not good, and you should instead, if you're working close to the ground, bend your knees a lot. But what happens then is that we're just overusing the knees and we're bending them too much. For most people it's overuse. Of course, with the right amount of training you can also get used to that. And just stay in the forward fold as I'm talking. But what the science actually also found is that a lot of areas where people don't have back pain is one of the reasons because they're in this position a lot. And so they are grabbing, picking up, reaching up stuff from the ground. Of course, not super heavy things. You might do it a bit different then, or just not do it alone at all. But that's why I got the blocks here. Imagine you want to move rocks or stones, or you do gardening work and you move them over to the side. And so this kind of position is what's really good for the body. And if you don't have blocks or books or anything to carry over with you, you can just walk the hands over to the side, straighten and bend the legs a little bit, and then walk the hands over and do the same there. And we just do 3 each side in this forward bent position. Very primal position and movement to be in. And we don't need the blocks or anything anymore, but it's a nice way also to start the day and kind of just move around and not be so static here as we sometimes do it in yoga. Very good. You can bend or straighten the legs to come back up. I will put the blocks away and we come back down to the ground. Now for a position that's tabletop, so we're coming onto all 4s, stay on the toes. This second move is called beast position or traveling beast, so forward and backward traveling beast. So let's come into beast first. So arms straight, you push the ground away, you're on the toes, you lift the knees just a little bit off the ground, so you're in this quadruped position on all 4s, and then you move across the diagonally, so left hand with right foot moves and right hand with left foot. So as you shift the weight and lift up, you lift the right foot and the left hand, you step it forward, land at the same time, and then the other side. So this is, you can look a little bit more forward, so you also see the direction you're going to. Try it out, just go with me. I'm just doing a couple forward and then also back. And for this, usually people overstep and step way too far. So be aware of that. and only do as much as necessary. Again, foot and hand landing at the same time. If you have more space, then you can do a lot of those and travel quite far and then go back. I have limited space here, and you likely have at home also limited space. That's why it's nice to take such a free-flowing, natural movement practice, maybe outdoors. Do it in the beach, on the beach, in the forest, in the grass, a soccer field, whatever you have. Next is traveling crab, which is in this position, the fingers pointing away from you. You're looking from the side, your body makes a M shape, and we lift the hips up. The feet are roughly as far apart as the hips are wide, and the hands are as far apart as the shoulders. And you lift the hips slightly up, so you're in this M shape, and you look forward and slightly up as if you're looking at the rising sun. And from here we do the same. We are traveling, moving forward, walking forward and back. And we do that again with the opposite side. So left foot and right hand lifts and then steps forward and lands at the same time. And then the right foot and the left hand. And if you do it super slow, it's very challenging, but it trains good movement and good coordination. And if you go into a little bit of a flow and get some momentum, then this is how it would look. Then of course also back. So you can go forward and back with this one. You try to keep the arms straight so that you're not bending it too much. It's more of a pushing up out of the scapula, the shoulder blade, and that's how you get a little bit of the lift so you can move the hand forward. If that's too much for the elbows, you can do it also with the fingers pointing forward, but eventually then you want to rotate the hands further out so that you can do it with the fingers pointing back and the toes pointing forward. Great. Next up we have frog jumps. For this you need a squat. Not necessarily need a squat, but I'm already now in a squat position and I like to work and move from this position. If you don't have a squat, then I highly recommend you check out the videos I have on hip and ankle mobility, in general the mobility playlist, which will help you work more towards a squat, a deep squat, a natural resting position for humans to just sit here. And maybe next time you're on your phone, I say it already for years, maybe be on your phone in a squat. At least you're doing a little bit something useful for the body. So from the squat, I'll create some more space in front of me. From the squat, we come forward with the hands and then we hop the feet, the legs up and land the feet again outside the hands. And maybe in the beginning, it's kind of fast, like this, and pretty high with the hips. So you want to start and pretty much land in a full squat with the hips pretty low. So they're low, then you float, they come high, and then you land again, the hips come low. You can play around with this and work more towards a handstand, more air time, kind of slowing down, resisting gravity, but this would be the next step and you will discover that throughout as you move and as you practice. So every time in between you can look forward, straight ahead, maybe even hands down, full squat. And then also back. And you can do as many as you like. So the next one is monkey walks sideways. So most of you have probably seen this one already. You also don't have to, but it's good to have a squat for this one, where you come down. And as you can see, a lot of things start actually from a squat. And this one, a lot of people get confused with the sequencing and the coordination. So we're going now to the left side. That means from the squat, we land the right hand first in front of the left foot, and then the left hand. So the hips come already a little bit up. And then you lift this foot up, the right foot first, and then you float the left foot up to the left, but the right foot lands first again, behind the left hand. So it's kind of this movement. You can learn it by practicing that. So from the squat, right hand in front of left foot, the heels lift always before you move, and then the left hand. And then you want to now float the right foot behind the left hand, and now you float the left foot behind the right hand. So you're kind of pendulum swinging left and right. So that's a good start movement. And then if you want to do the full sideways traveling monkey, you just land the other foot as well. So right hand, right foot, left foot, squat. Right hand, right foot, left foot, squat. And now the other way. Left foot, right hand, left hand, right hand, left foot, right foot, left hand, left foot, right foot. I'll do 2 more each side. You can also change the player speed in YouTube to slow motion if you want to take a closer look. Great. Let's come into an inverted V, and that's the last one. Downward facing dog, pretty much. And we're moving from here into an upward facing dog, from down dog to up dog. Call it whatever you want. I'm a yogi, so I call it down dog, up dog. But the hands are as far apart as the shoulders. Press into the inner hands, push the ground away, move the hips up and back, and bring the feet now wider apart than the hips, so that you can roll through the spine forward, nice and controlled, to an upward dog. Engage the glutes, open the front body, stay on the toes, and then chin to the chest, round through the spine to go up and back. And let's do 4 more. There's of course many other movements, many other things you can do. This is not a complete collection, but I would say some of the most important that I always recommend if you want to do a natural movement practice, kind of primal movements. This is usually a good start. That's why I said that you should know those and integrate them into your practice. So if you're lifting, for example, very classical weightlifting, if you're doing that for whatever reason, then this is a nice warm-up to do, or a nice finisher in the end. Let's do 1 more. Kind of lost count there, but hopefully it feels good for you. Moving super slow, so very mindful, slow movements. Very good. And always in the end, take a moment again to sit. You can sit cross-legged. You can also sit on the heels in whatever position works for you. Now there's 2 more tips I want to share with you, 2 more movements. So basically number 7 would be walking. It sounds almost too simple, but most people do not walk enough. If you add up the hours that you're actually sitting and then you add up the time that you're walking, it's not much, and it's in a very big imbalance. And I think one of the best forms of exercise really that you can do forever is walking, and it's one of the best forms, and the human is designed to walk. It's one of the very few, if not the only animals that are walking on 2 feet in this way that we are walking. So walk more if you can. Park a little bit further away if you go to work, to the office, to the grocery store. park on the other end of the parking lot. That's what I do. And then I walk. Ideally, I would love to walk to the store and then do the farmers carrying 2 bags in both hands and then walking home. But depending where you live in Europe, this is more feasible. So when I lived in Europe, this was my day to day. But now living in the US, you have to drive to most places. So when you drive, and you maybe have to drive, there's no way around it, then park far away, walk to the store, walk to the office, so you can get a little bit more walking in. Start your day after your morning coffee or even before with a nice morning walk. It's really good for the optic flow to wake up the brain, wake up the body. If you start your day with a nice walk, also seeing the sunlight and the sunshine hitting your eye really wakes up your body and your brain fully. And it's a nice way to start the day. It's also a very nice way to end the day if you want to just end with a nice walk around the block or a little bit further. Explore your own neighborhood, take your kids, take your partner, go by yourself, listen to an audiobook, or just listen to the birds and the animals. So you get the point. Walking, walk more as much as you can. And you can do little tweaks throughout the day so that you actually get a little bit more walking in. If you're sitting for 8-9 hours plus driving, so 10-11 hours, you're not going to walk for 10-11 hours, although you're meant to walk this much actually. But of course, in the Western world today, this is not feasible. But maybe you can bring it up to 2 hours, 3 hours, half hour in the morning, an hour at night, something like that. The other movement, the last one, basically number 8, is hanging. So if you have a pull-up bar at home, perfect, every day, some hanging, half a minute, maybe a few times a day. Super nice to just work on the grips and hang. If you don't have any of that and don't want to get it, you can find some other ways. You can maybe hang on the porch, or you go to a kid's playground, hang on those monkey bars and swing around. The body is meant to walk, to hang, to swing from bar to bar. So if you can get more hanging in throughout the day, fantastic. I have a whole video on hanging and pulling. It's up here, you can check it out. And I hope you enjoyed this video with these top and final 8 primal movements for a healthy body, a healthy day, and more natural movement in your life. Thank you very much for joining me. If you found this video useful, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. I know everyone says it, you've heard it 1,000 times, but it really does make a big difference, and it really helps us to grow the channel and bring all the information we're sharing to more people out there in the world. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for liking and for sharing it, and I will see you in the next one very soon. Much love and gratitude. Peace.